right, so part 2 for chapter 16 in your pharmacy practice for technicians. We're picking up on slide 22, which is going to begin discussing writing a strong resume. So a resume is a brief written summary about what you have to offer an employer. It is a marketing tool to present your work experience, your skills, your background, and your education. You want to make sure that you collect all of your information. So describe what you have achieved in each position, what skills from previous jobs that you have and might be transferable to the pharmacy. And you also want to include any relevant volunteer experience. So parts of your resume, there's a heading, which is your full name, address, telephone number, and email address. You want to make sure you give them the information they need to get a hold of you. Your education, high school or college. Also include the city and state, the degree or major, and your date of graduation. Professional certification. So you're going to include your pharmacy technician certification when you pass that on there. Registration, you've got CPR and first aid and career prep. You also will receive a certificate for sterile products. You want to make sure you put that on there as well. Experience, so work experience in reverse chronological order. Your position, the employer's name, the location, the dates you were employed, and then a brief description of your duties at that location. Your skills, so skills are useful for the job. Any foreign language that you speak, computer skills, those type of things. Related activities would be things like leadership, teamwork, good communication skills, any club or organizational memberships that you have. That's why it's important to join those. Professional or volunteer activities, hobbies or interests that are relevant. And then references, you want to just make sure you put those available upon request and have those available and ready in case during your interview that they want to have those. With your resume, you want to have a hard copy available at all times. You should be going to your interviews with a hard copy of your resume. It should be a single sheet. It should follow a standard format, high quality paper. Make sure you're avoiding errors such as spelling errors, grammar errors, punctuation, capitalization of things. You should have someone else proofread it. That's what Cindy in Career Services does, to make sure that all of that is proper. So curriculum vitae is a more detailed resume format. It is used by people in academia or by people later on in their careers. I, in October, finished my bachelor's degree for healthcare administration, and I had to have a curriculum vitae done. It is a very in-depth, and this is multiple upon multiple pages of a resume, essentially. I'm including transcripts. I'm including all awards and things like that I have achieved throughout. In addition to your resume, you want to make sure that you have a strong cover letter. So a cover letter is the first communication that you are sending to the prospective employer. Most online application processes, like through Indeed and Glassdoor, they give you the opportunity to upload a cover letter. You should be doing that. Again, it may be submitted as a hard copy or online with your resume. If it is mailed, the letter should be on the same kind of paper as the resume and in a matching business envelope. Your cover letter should be single-spaced using block or modified block style. Again, proofread it very carefully. Have others proofread it for you. Read it out loud. That's another way to check for errors. Address the letter to a particular person by name and title. If you're able to get that information, that may take some extra investigation, but that does demonstrate that you took the initiative, and it does come across as very professional. Identify the position for which you're applying, especially if they have multiple positions available. Your cover letter should have a first paragraph, which states why you are writing, what specific position that you're applying for or seeking, and how you learned of the opening. Your second paragraph should explain why you're interested in the position, why you're interested in the organization or the organization's products and services that they offer. Tell how your academic background makes you a qualified candidate for the position. If you've had some practice experience, then you want to point out your achievements in this area. Your third paragraph refers the reader to the enclosed or the attached resume. If specific items on your resume require an explanation, then tactfully and positively point them out. That would be within your third paragraph. Your fourth paragraph is indicating your desire for a personal interview and your flexibility as to the time and place. That's just it. You want to be flexible. It doesn't look very good if you're called for an interview and you're like, oh, well, I can't do that day. Nope, that's not going to work for me. Oh, no, that's not going to work for me. You need to be flexible. Repeat your telephone number as well as the best times to reach you in this paragraph. If you use email as a preferred method of communication, you want to let the employer know that. Close your letter with a statement or question to encourage a response. Now, preparing for the interview. You want to first find out everything you can about the company before your interview. You're going to rehearse answers to potential questions. Cindy in Career Services has a bank of practice interview questions. She is very willing to do mock interviews with you. I think those are services that are beneficial, and you should definitely take advantage of that. You want to try to brainstorm possible questions that you might be asked. When answering the questions, you want to consider the employer's point of view. Be prepared to describe difficult situations at work. That's one of the top questions they're going to ask you. Prepare your own questions for the end of the interview. That is one of the things that they say is a determining factor for individuals during an interview is if they don't ask questions, at least have one prepared. After the interview, follow up with a thank you note or a phone call. So guidelines for your job interviews: arrive early. Make sure you leave the house in plenty of time to account for traffic or any accidents or anything that may happen along the way. You're not exactly sure where you're going and parking and all of that. You want to be early. You want to pay close attention to personal appearance. Your clothes, you should be in business attire. You should have your clothes ironed, not just pulled out of the dryer with wrinkles. Be confident, polite, poised, and enthusiastic. Make sure that you're making eye contact. Focus on your strengths, but don't be arrogant. They don't like arrogance. Ask questions. Don't be negative about previous employers. Even if you had a terrible experience at your last job, and if the comments are warranted and it really was a bad place to work, do not bring that to the table. They don't like to hear that. At the very end, make sure you thank the interviewer or interviewees. A lot of times pharmacy do panel interviews, so you want to make sure that you're thanking them for their time. Once you get the job, you are going to get performance reviews. So the initial review when you get hired typically is within the first 3 to 6 months. Workers are evaluated on their job responsibilities, the skills, and any competencies that have been established. The supervisor and the employee will evaluate the degree to which the expectations are met. Reviews are typically held quarterly, semi-annually, or annually. Concrete measures for performance reviews: attendance and timeliness, dress code compliance. Are you showing up in dress code every day? Computer skills and accuracy, adherence to all policies and procedures, processing of insurance claims accurately, efficiency and accuracy in filling prescriptions, and then completion of any additional assignments that you're giving. Objective measures, so customer service and phone etiquette, teamwork, ability to take correction. So, constructive feedback, right? Ability to be told that you're not doing something right and to make those corrections and not take it personally. Be motivated and have self-direction. Improve in your learning and on-the-job skills. They're looking at relationships with your colleagues, relationships with your supervisors. As far as advancing your career, so pharmacy technicians are increasingly taking on non-traditional and advanced roles, so that the pharmacists end up having more time doing the clinical work. The pharmacists have been taking on increasingly specialized roles, and the techs have also had to become more specialized. Tech positions are when senior technicians check the work of technicians before the pharmacist checks it. It does not replace the pharmacist's final verification. It just adds an extra set of eyes. But in the state of Arizona, we are not a tech state. Technician management positions. A lot of times lead technicians will be put into management positions. Well, they will do the schedules for technicians. They will train new workers, they're new pharmacy technicians, and they will perform the reviews of those new hires. Other roles. There's some facilities have controlled substance specialists, which you are tasked with assuring that the facility is in compliance with all regulations specific to controlled substances. Pharmacy benefits or an insurance liaison. Technicians can specialize in insurance billing, prior authorizations, and addressing any audit questions. Drug distribution and inventory specialists. So this would be a purchaser, right? Most pharmacy technicians, or I should say most purchasing positions are pharmacy technicians. So they specialize in the purchasing of drug and equipment and supplies for the pharmacy. They set inventory levels, check for recalls, and solve any drug shortage problems. Other roles, MTM assistants. So you will provide administrative support for pharmacists in their chronic disease management work. So things like diabetes management, anticoagulation management, heart disease management, data gathering. You'll be responsible for scheduling the pharmacist appointments. Immunization assistant specialist, so you will provide administrative support for pharmacists in their immunization work. Some states are moving to have technicians actually administer vaccines, but Arizona is not one of those states currently. Healthcare device patient education specialist, so you'll help patients choose and use disease and disease controlled devices, so things like spacers for inhalers, blood pressure cuffs to monitor blood pressure, glucose monitoring test kits, those type of things. Automation specialist, so manage and troubleshoot pharmacy robots and automated dispensing cabinets. I was actually one of these specialists in the hospital. It takes a lot of work and a lot of learning the machines, but you become a pretty good pro at it very quickly. Informatics specialist, so you could move into a role where you're managing pharmacy software and the pharmacy's data storage. Hospital admissions medication history specialist, so this would be a position, and I know Banner hires technicians for this, typically in the emergency room. So you would gather a list of patients' current medications and allergy history by interviewing the patient upon admission to the hospital. This has proved very effective, especially for Banner. I know a lot of the other hospitals are going to probably start to move to this. So you would be hired, you would be working directly in the emergency room, and you will be going room to room to any patient that is being admitted to get their full history, which helps increase patient safety. Hospital discharge care transition specialist. So you could be tasked with facilitating insurance verification, claims processing, resolving any prior authorizations, and identifying medication assistance programs during transition to follow-up care. So let's say the patient doesn't have insurance, or maybe they have a high deductible plan. You could help them find programs to enroll in that will help get them their medication at a lower cost. Telepharmacy is a pharmacy technician in a pharmacy that is remotely staffed by a pharmacist. So they're watching you through a screen, essentially, which is something we don't really have here in Arizona. Systemic barriers to technician advancement. So not all of the time are we going to have the opportunity for advancement in certain positions or certain facilities that we work in. And some of those barriers are as follows. So a lack of standardization in education and training program, professional liability, concerns about patient safety and the incident of medication errors, regulations and restrictions by the State Board of Pharmacy. So we may not even be allowed, according to state law, to be in those particular positions. Pharmacists' resistance to change as a threat to their job security, lack of funding to support pilot projects to demonstrate the benefits of several of these advanced roles for technicians. Career building counsel. So you want to build a good relationship with your supervisor. You want to foster a positive attitude under stress. The thing is, we all have things going on in our personal lives. You do the best you can to leave it at the door. Reflect a desire for self-improvement. Don't think that you are perfect and you know everything. There's always room for improvement. There's always room for learning. Become known for reliability. Like, hey, I can call Sarah. She's off today. We had a call in. I know she's going to come in and help us. Excel in your performance. Don't just do the bare minimum. Go above and beyond. Turn problems into opportunities to develop solutions. This is the perfect time for that. Come up with ideas. Share your ideas. Nurture healthy professional alliances. There's kind of an unwritten rule in hospital pharmacies that hospital and pharmacy and nursing are always battling. They hate each other. Be the change to that. Reach out to your nurses. Be kind to your nurses. And I promise you'll see a difference in the attitude and in how you're treated. Develop a depth and breadth of operational skills. So every opportunity that you have to learn new skills, take those opportunities. Become active in professional organizations. So there's some here listed on slide 42. The NPTA is huge. It's a very small fee. It's like $35 or $40 a year. You get all of your continuing education access that you need. It keeps you up to date. I'm a member of that. Attend meetings, join committees, and even see what you can do through your state board. Pharmacy technician work may be a springboard to other healthcare disciplines. So not everybody that becomes a pharmacy technician will stay a pharmacy technician for their entire life and career. Some people move on to EMTs, nursing, pharmacists, MAs in some cases. It's important that you understand that it's okay if you don't want to stay a pharmacy technician. You're building a foundation of healthcare. Some of the best pharmacists I have ever worked with in my entire career were pharmacy technicians first, because they understand our job, they understand our roles. And that completes chapter 16. Be sure to reach out to me, text, phone call, email, if you have any questions.